and now the 5G rollout in Egypt and powering the 5G rollout with the greatest or largest spectrum deal in Egypt's telecom history with around $3.5 billion for 410 megahertz of new frequencies, and now that's why it's powering the 5G rollout here in Egypt. And concerning the mobile services and the digital services which is supposed to be provided to the citizens and etc. And how about being the logistic and the digital hub for the whole region? We're most delighted to be joined over the phone by our prominent guest, Dr. Nevin Makram, Reporter of Scientific Culture, Innovative Thinking and Artificial Intelligence Committee at the Supreme Council of Culture. Dr. Nevin, always great pleasure having you with us. Very good morning to you.
Thank you very much, dear. Very good morning to you and to all the very nice crew.
Talking about the 5G rollout in Egypt, and of course it's a huge deal and spectrum deal, as we mentioned, and how we're supposed to keeping the internet and mobile services, first of all, simple for all the citizens, and the fiber requirement, huge capex, how this will regulate the balance operating return with keeping internet and mobile services affordable for the population and for the 107 megas.
Oh, let's first of all clarify that the official launch of the 5G commercial services represents a very important paradigm shift for Egypt's digital economy. So we're not only talking now about consumer mobile broadband, but we're talking about powering enterprises and helping with the state infrastructure. Like what you were mentioning now about what happened and the NITRA regulations, the new regulations, we're talking about very important strategic applications. So now having the 5G, we're able to enable the foundational infrastructure for a very important file for us in Egypt. That's a smart cities. Most notably when we talk about the new administrative capital, the new Alamein, where we really need the 5G paradigm shift because we have utility grids, we have smart traffic management, we have AI-driven surveillance, and all of this requires a different and a more advanced infrastructure. This will definitely help us as citizens whenever we have any work related to, like, for example, downloading videos that help in our work, like when we talk about the healthcare ecosystem for the medical doctors who use this. If we talk about the different industrial institutions, it's the same thing. So especially when we talk about the industrial automation, like, for example, in Suez Canal Economic Zone, where we need the automated logistics, when we need the real-time supply chain tracking, when we need to focus on smart port operations. So it will help the government and it will help the citizens, whether we're talking cost or we're talking efficiency.
Yeah. Dr. Makram, talking about the submarine cables passing through Egypt and carrying around 90% of Asia-Europe data, how can Egypt just leverage out of this, of the new internet corridor and data center, to capture more value instead of just getting or transit fees?
Okay, here we're not talking about only fees, but we're talking about high-value tech exporting. So we're not only talking about the traditional call centers, but we're talking about the offshoring sector. And that's a very important sector nowadays in Egypt. We're focusing on the high-value digital services, like, for example, like what you mentioned, the data. So we're talking about the artificial intelligence, definitely. How we can have machine learning models, how we can train these models so that to make them ready for the international tech giants. When we talk about data, it's very important to clarify that we talk here about the data annotation. And by data annotation, we mean the process of labeling, the process of tagging, of categorizing, the raw training data, like for example, images, text, video, and audio, with a very high precision, so that again, we can train the machine learning systems, and we can train the different AI algorithms so that we can accurately recognize and learn from it. So we're focusing on this nowadays, the AI, the data annotation, the cloud architecture, the cybersecurity. We're moving to a different industry, if I may say.
Yep. Okay, Dr. Nevin, with the producing like domestically or made in Egypt around 15 million mobiles or phones in 2026, what policies or procedures are still needed to move Egypt from just assembly to high-value components and chip design? We did produce many made in Egypt mobiles, but I believe still a bit far from the international competition. Or what do you take on this?
Okay, actually we're focusing on the capacity building of the youth, because if you want to have your own industries, your own products, like what we aim at, the AI made in Egypt, not only used in Egypt, and I'm focusing on AI because it's now included in all of the systems. So we're not only talking about mobiles or about equipment, but we're talking about enabling these equipment to provide better services. We need to focus on both things, the capacity building, and we're already doing a great job regarding capacity building, and we need to focus on the governance, the AI governance. That's a very important aspect, because if we're looking toward having our own systems and towards having better systems, towards focusing more on, like, for example, the business process outsourcing, providing also the information technology outsourcing, the knowledge process outsourcing, all of this needs to be governance. So that's why we need to focus on AI governance. And by AI governance, we need to have our own regulatory framework that makes sure that all of these systems, equipment and machine models, algorithms are for good. What we always say, the AI for good. Yeah. So that's what we need to focus on nowadays.
Yep. Dr. Nevin, how can we assure that the government and the Ministry of Telecommunication and Information, the MCIT, how can they securitize providing the service to the rural areas, to all the citizens around Egypt and not only in Cairo?
We're talking more about providing all of these, let's say, facilities to all of the government. I mean, we need to focus more on the rural areas, and we can do so through the different presidential initiatives. Because again, when we talk about AI, when we talk about IT, when we talk about providing all of these facilities, we need to make sure that it's fair, that it is distributed all over the country, not only in some governorates, and others are lacking all of this. That's why mainly all of the initiatives, especially Haya Karima, focuses on providing a proper infrastructure so as to be sure to provide the same quality of services, whether regarding education, regarding healthcare, and so on, to all of the governorates.
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, and this is a decent life for Haya Karima, is the best ever ideal for such projects. And Dr. Nevin Makram, reporter of Scientific Culture, Innovative Thinking and AI Committee at the Supreme Council of Culture. Many thanks for your insights and for being with us. Have a nice day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, by this we come to the end of our today's edition of the Breakfast Show. And now we leave you with this report concerning the Cairo had just sealed the largest ever spectrum deal in Egypt's telecom history with $3.5 billion for 410 megahertz of new frequencies, and now is powering the 5G rollout, faster internet, and Egypt pushes to become a regional digital hub. Let's watch. Thank you.
Egypt's communication sector is entering a new phase in 2026, built on three pillars.